What's going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show. We are live here on YouTube for Fantasy Alarm, YouTube for Bettor Sports Network. Thanks for everyone joining in here on a Wednesday afternoon. Got Howard Bender back with me for talk some NFL Week 7. What's up, Howard?
What's going on, Servo? This looks like a very, very interesting week. Very tough week. A lot of low spreads this week, and then the ones that are a little on the higher upside all have a little bit of suspicion.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough week. We're going to talk some early leans for some of the bigger games and interesting matchups. Bringing our producer Adam Bernard in a little bit because he's got a tough Week 7 survivor pick, which again, these tight spreads really making it tough on people this week, depending who you already chose earlier in the season for your survivor league. So we'll dive into a little bit of that and then wrap up with some ALCS Game 3 bets and props for tonight's Rangers-Astros matchup. So it should be a fun game tonight. Astros down 2-0, so we'll see if they can get a game back here. And by the way, we went 5-0. Me and James Grande, we went 5-0 with our picks for yesterday's Diamondbacks-Phillies game. So, pat ourselves on the back. We're going to try to keep it going. Got Howard in here to keep it going here because we got to get
Howard, who went 2-0 with his picks on Monday.
There you go. Yeah. We had some wins on Monday, me and you. So
give me a little love there, Servo. Come on. It's cold outside.
There you go. On Monday's game, I hit on with Zach Wheeler's outs prop, and I think Bryce Harper's prop too. So, yeah, it's been a profitable postseason for this show. So definitely jump on in. If you got any of your own picks, definitely throw them in the chat here. See what you guys are riding tonight or this week for NFL. If you got any leans on some of these games too. By the way, this Week 7. So we got Thursday Night Football tomorrow, by the way. Thanks, Robert Flores, for chiming in with that money bag. Yeah, we'll try to keep cashing for you guys. Smokey in the chat as well. Awesome stuff to see you guys already tuning in, chiming in here. Let's dive into Week 7. Some of these interesting matchups for Sunday's slate. We'll touch on Thursday's matchup tomorrow's show. But for Sunday's slate, the tightest spread. Let's start with that one because we mentioned all these like small spreads out there. The tightest one, though, basically a pick 'em. We got Packers-Broncos. Packers are a 1-point favorite here on the road. Over/under of 44.5. Find it interesting. Packers are coming off the bye here, but on the road in Denver, obviously against the Denver team that is struggling right now. But Packers slight favorites here. Any leans or thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'm very leaning towards the Packers, minus the 1. I mean, I feel like they win this game, but that's it seems like the sucker play. I mean, Vegas is basically saying it's a pick 'em, so obviously the Packers do have certain shortcomings that they're expecting maybe Denver as a home team to kind of expose. I don't really know what that is, especially with the Packers coming off the bye.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Denver's not going to lose every game, are they? So, right, the ultimate tank for Caleb Williams while you're paying $1 bazillion to Russell Wilson. Just like an absolute nightmare. My lean is the Packers. I won't bet this game, though. I won't bet it at all as like a, with the spread because it's a coin flip, 50-50.
Yeah, I'd lean Packers too here. And I think it is interesting that they are favored on the road, even though it's in Denver, which we've talked about a lot as being just a tough place to play, no matter what the team is for Denver. But I think coming off the bye helps Green Bay here, especially Jordan Love. Just, maybe having a little bit better offensive game plan, especially early on, just to have him a little bit more comfortable with an extra week of prep. And leaning on the run game more against the terrible Broncos defense.
Broncos run defense. But like you say all of that, like, why are the Packers only favored by a point? Like that's because we're talking about what's the value of coming off the bye week and being able to prepare for a team that has just been kicked around the entire season. Embarrassingly kicked around. throughout this whole time, and like all the Sean Payton nonsense and everything that goes with that. That's why I don't understand why the Packers wouldn't be favored by more, which is what makes me worry about this game, which, maybe I just turn around and say Broncos and everybody says you're an idiot, Bender, and that's what hits.
I mean, listen, it'll be interesting to see by, Sunday or by Friday's show when we give out picks, if maybe the spread flips a little bit, if some of the money starts coming in on Denver. But listen, you see like a 1-5 Broncos team, which you kind of expect them, as you said, they're not going to lose every game. Like they got to get some wins here, you'd think. But yeah, it's a tough one to like kind of, plant your flag on. But I guess initial leans would be on the Packers side of things. Our producer Bernard threw in the chat that the Packers-Broncos has come a long way from Super Bowl 32 with Favre versus Elway. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. That we're talking about a 1-point spread here and don't really know which way to go. But interesting that is the tightest spread for this weekend. The biggest spread this week for Sunday's games is the Bills on the road at New England here. -9 is the spread in favor of the Bills. 41.5 is the over-under. Divisional matchup. The vibes in the market is as low as it's ever been on the Patriots, especially this season. 9-point spread here. Listen, my initial lean is going with New England. As the home dogs in this matchup, you'd think Belichick's got to have some something up his sleeve to really slow down a Bills offense that, listen, outside of Stephon Diggs, they really lack any playmakers. We said this before the season, but I think in recent games, it's kind of coming true. And if they kind of, we've seen Belichick do this in the past with each team's best players. If he kind of tries the game plan, take away, limit Diggs at all, I could see the Bills offense really struggling again. They looked sluggish 2 weeks ago in London against the Jaguars, lost that game. Probably should have lost last week against the Giants for multiple reasons, but they survived that one. I'm not as high on the Bills right now, and I think it might be a time to buy a little low on the Patriots. As bad as it is, I could see it being a tighter game than this spread indicates.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I'm up in the air about this one too. I love the fact that, it's a good game to kind of discuss because Bills were favored by 14 against the Giants last week, and the Giants didn't have it, it was Tyrod Taylor or whatever. And they didn't even come close to covering. So now that it's instead of it's being a 14-point game, it's a 9-point game. They bring it down. And everybody turns around and says, well, we're still getting 9 points here, so I'm going to take the Patriots because that's it. And then Buffalo comes out and just annihilates them. Because for me, the Patriots just don't have the personnel. Yes, Bill Belichick is like the mad genius and the schemer of all schemes, but he just doesn't have the personnel right now. I mean, they bring back J.C. Jackson after losing Christian Gonzalez, and J.C. Jackson's atrocious. He's terrible. He's his best years were the first time around when he was with the Patriots and he got paid by the Chargers. Matthew Judon not being there, that's huge, 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 huge. The quarterback issues that they're having right now, that Mac Jones hasn't finished a game in 2 weeks. I mean, it's kind of a disaster there for the Patriots, and it's like you can say that Bill Belichick is the mad genius all you want, but I mean, he just doesn't have anybody right now. And so I think that because the Bills didn't cover it last time against the Giants, I think that's going to push a lot of people to taking the Pats. The Pats are just so bad. So my lean here is the Bills.
Yeah, I don't have any smart analysis for taking the Patriots just for the fact that it is, Belichick in a rivalry, divisional matchup.
Yeah, totally.
But there's nothing that says, you could confidently back, especially the Patriots offense. Just you went through some of the defensive stuff, but this offense under Mac Jones is just not doing it.
Ooh, right? Ooh, I mean, how do you get the backdoor cover from this? Does Malik Cunningham come in and run for a 92-yard touchdown somehow? Who is it? Who said it the other day that Malik Cunningham is giving them like Terrell Pryor vibes? That's not good.
Yeah. This is the prime, like if you're down, 14 points, and you're back in the Patriots here, like rooting for a touchdown to really cover the spread is just a tough spot to be in.
Come on, Devontae Parker. Throw it to Kendrick Bourne.
Right. We got a Smokey the Cat in the chat on YouTube. He's got a Saints parlay for tomorrow night's game. Saints heavy parlay here. He's got Olave over 3.5 receptions. Blake Group, the kicker, over 1.5 extra points. Kamara touchdown. And New Orleans +3 on the alt spread there for a nice little same game parlay. I'll say, the Olave one of that I definitely like because the Jags defense is, I think, second worst in terms of yards allowed per game. So I do think that can come through. I'd be a little skeptical of, throwing in like a Kamara touchdown or like the extra points into this parlay because I just think it's going to be a very low scoring game. We were talking about it before we went live a little bit where it might just be like a 14-10, 17-10 game where I just don't know how many actual touchdowns we get, whether it's Kamara or anybody else, and then the kicker having extra point opportunities. It might be I'd maybe back his field goal prop, but I don't know about extra points.
Oh, yeah. I'd wonder what his field goal prop is. Although Blake Groupie keeps missing field goals too. So interesting though. Listen, man, I'll never go against Smokey. Like he's dialed in here. So I mean, because I think it's kind of funny. I think the Kamara TD is fine. I think New Orleans getting 3 probably fine here as well. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the do the Saints get 2 touchdowns?
Yeah,
Saints need 2 touchdowns. Can they do that? I feel like they can against Jacksonville. I mean,
these we've talked about this a lot. The Thursday night games, but also just night games in general this year are just they're hitting under more often than not. And this total is what is the latest total here? We got 40 is the over under. So just like I don't know, it's a tough one. I think if there was a way to go, I do like the Saints getting the alt line of the +3. I do like that. Whether on the other side, if you're looking at the alt line for the Jaguars, but it's a tough one. But Smokey, listen, who am I to doubt Smokey at this point? He's been hitting on some of these parlays.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I mean, just having like all the fantasy talk that goes on throughout my day and what everybody's saying about Chris Olave right now, you're kind of like wondering what's up. But, like here's a guy who, 3.5 receptions it's super low. And I don't know if that's just, an algorithm spitting out the fact that he had, 2 games where he had 1 catch and 2 catches. And it just so happens that that's 2 out of his last 3. But I don't think that that's the issue now. And Derek Carr's shoulder is fine, or at least better than it was before. So, yeah. Very interesting, though. I'm rooting for you, Smokey. And you know what? I'm gonna put a unit on your parlay here.
There you go.
Because I love Smokey stuff here.
All right, next game we'll break down here. How about the lowest total? We're talking about a low total with the Saints tomorrow night, Saints Jags. But here's the lowest total for Sunday's slate. Raiders Bears 37.5 is the over under in this one. We got the Raiders favored by 3 on the road. This is I'm not surprised at this low total because it's looking like Justin Fields and Jimmy G are both out for this game, so it's going to be Tyson Bagent against Aiden O'Connell for the right to win this game.
Oh, did the Raiders announce that O'Connell was starting?
No, but I just kind of assume.
I don't know, man. Brian Hoyer's still around. Didn't look terrible, I don't know. Oh, it's actually, how about this? I found out it's Bagent, as in secret Bagent man.
Okay, Tyson Bagent.
So there we go. Yeah, that's listen. Like if it's Brian, how crazy is this? If it's Brian Hoyer under center, I'll take the Raiders. I'll lay the O'Connell, Bagent. Like I hate it. I don't like it at all. And then neither defense is particularly good either. But
I know
I
that's the
think I
thing.
would probably still give the edge to the Raiders just because of Max Crosby. Like I feel like I don't like it. I don't like taking the Raiders, especially because they're coming off of back-to-back wins too. Taking the
Yeah,
Raiders, laying the points could very well be the dirtiest thing that happens in betting the NFL this week.
this spread, by the way, Raiders -3 reminds me of last week. We had the Vikings, I think, -3 against the Bears, and you confidently backed Minnesota. They got they covered that and won, but it's just the spread. I remember going into it, you said the 3-point spread is just kind of begging people to take Chicago as the underdogs. I wouldn't do it if it's Tyson Bagent under center, but I don't have a ton of confidence in the Raiders either. So this might be just kind of a stay away. I would lean under, even though the defenses are. I think just with the quarterback play, I could see this being very low scoring.
Yeah, the under, I'm definitely fine.
Might be the under.
Are you on the under?
All right. How about the? Yeah, I'm on the under too.
Okay.
What? Was I think there was a lag in there.
Maybe yeah, it was. There was like a lag, and we were kind of talking over each other, and I was like, I don't know, man. Maybe I froze. I don't know.
All right. How about the next game here? The biggest total of the Sunday slate of games, I think overall in Week 7, is the Dolphins-Eagles Sunday night game. Should be a really good game to watch between two top-tier teams. We got the Eagles favored by 2 points here, over under 52. And honestly, I'm leaning towards the under here, even though we got two, potent offenses. I think the Eagles, we saw last week against that matchup against the Jets. I know it was a really good defense in the Jets that really limited Hurts and the passing attack. But in that game, they really went away from the run game. It's been talked about a lot, in the Philly media, that they got to get back to this run game and pound Swift, like they were in some of their earlier games. I feel like they're going to want to do that and really give Swift and the running attack a lot of work, especially to keep the ball out of the Dolphins' offense's hands where they can explode for a long Tyreek Hill touchdown at any point. So I feel like they're going to want to really limit this, limit the possessions on both sides, but especially for the Dolphins. And I feel like the Eagles should try to string together some of these longer drives that we've seen them do with the run game. And the Dolphins on that side, this is the toughest defense they'll face so far this year, and a really good run defense, which, the Dolphins on the ground, that their running attack has been a main part of what they can do. And that threat of the run just really open up things deep and allowing Tyreek Hill to really make plays down the field. But if the Eagles kind of take away some of that running success for the Dolphins, I could just see it being a lower scoring game than this total indicates. But don't have a great lean on the spread, but I just see it being a really, I just think 52 is a little too high for me.
Let me ask you a question here, Servo, about the Eagles defense. Will Jalen Carter be on the field this week?
I think he will. I feel like he sat out last week, so he would be available for this one. That's kind of my thought on it. So we'll see. But if he's out, it is a big loss. I mean, the run defense was pretty good last week with him out, though. But obviously, if he's in there really frustrating things in the middle, then that's a huge boost to the Eagles D-line.
What about your secondary? Darius Slay, Bradley Roby, Blankenship, Brown, Ricks. Everybody's questionable for this week. Are you going to have guys back, or are you going to be depleted in the secondary? Because if two of the 5 names I just mentioned, if they're out, I really fear for the Eagles secondary having to keep up with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Throw in, I don't even know, is Trent Sherfield their slot guy these days? Like, I mean, that's, screen passes to Mostert. I mean, I fear for your defense here against this Miami offense right now, because you guys are not 100%.
Well, I agree. Yeah, the secondary injuries are definitely a worry, and that's like a spot where they probably have to look to make a trade, I think, to bring in some depth, but or at least like like a nickel corner or something. But yeah, I we'll see about Darius Slay, another guy that maybe he sat out last week, but maybe they're kind of looking ahead to this Dolphins game and making sure he was fully healthy for it, and kind of to their own detriment, taking the Jets a little too lightly last week. But I mean, I feel like Slay being back would be a huge boost. Obviously, it is kind of a wait and see. Maybe that's like a Friday injury report. We kind of see where where the injury kind of stands. Lane Johnson's the other guy, sprained his ankle. Apparently, it's not serious, but he might be out this week. I kind of expect him to be out this week. So that's another one kind of monitor too for this game.
Yeah. You know what, though? Above all, I think it's going to be a fun one. I think the Eagles can score on the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins can score on the Eagles. I'm trying to figure out exactly where, the edge is really going to end up coming. But, I mean, both teams are loaded up with weapons. Obviously the Eagles offensive line has an edge over the Miami offensive line. I think it comes down to your guys' run defense, which is definitely a strength of yours. Like if you guys can keep Mostert and whomever, kind of held down a little bit, you could have the edge. But right now, I mean, it's a couple of, it's Yosemite Sam coming in with the salute. Bam, 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 bam.
By the way, I'm looking now at this is before we went live. It has the Eagles -2 on DraftKings, and it is Eagles -2.5 for what that's worth.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye. I mean, yeah, the 3-point line is obviously the key number. So people are trying to get on it on the Eagles side of things. But if it goes up to 3, you might be interested in taking the Dolphins. So yeah, so the total's still at 52, by the way, for that game. All right, how about the last game we'll touch on here before we talk some more Survivor League picks and some baseball. This is just like kind of the bonus game because, as you can see, we got Taylor Swift watch. Will she be in attendance for this Chiefs-Chargers game? It's in Kansas City, so you're kind of thinking she will be in attendance to see Travis Kelce there. But Chiefs, 5.5 is the spread in their favor. 48.5 is the over/under. Honestly, I'd lean Chargers because we've seen the Chargers play the Chiefs tough as the past two years when Brandon Staley has been there. These games have been like one possession games, and it's usually the Chiefs coming out on top, but the Chargers have been up for the fight in these matchups, these divisional matchups. So I'd lean Chargers. Not too confident in after we just saw them really just kind of underwhelm in their last game on Monday night. But I don't know. Where are you going with this one?
Well, listen, I'm concerned that Taylor Swift won't be there for a couple of reasons. I don't think
she won't be there.
It's not. No, I don't think she will be. It's not a primetime game. I don't think has Taylor been to a non-primetime game yet.
Yeah, the first game she went to was like I think it was like a 1 p.m. game. She broke.
It was the Bears game.
Yeah, she broke Twitter because it was like the middle. I remember Red Zone was just kept cutting to her.
Really? Are we really?
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, it was the Bears 4:25 Eastern kickoff game, I believe. It was I think it was
4:25, and that was her first appearance. Huh? Okay.
And honestly, I think since then the Chiefs have played 2 primetime games that she was in attendance for. So. Or 3 primetime games.
Listen, this is a big matchup for Travis Kelce, right? Derwin James, Derwin James is like, the guy who is supposedly, kryptonite for tight ends. And, Derwin James, we all remember the big body slam, right? I mean, that was, that was him and Travis Kelce. So, there's there could be like a little bit of ugliness between these two, and it could get a little chippy out there. I think Kelce has 300-yard performances in his last 4 games against the Chargers, and matching up with Derwin James. 5 touchdowns in his last 3. So that's that's what's there for Kelce. Like, I don't think we want the focus being on, Taylor Swift or her being in there. This is a big rivalry series and a big game for Travis Kelce. For people playing him in DFS, it's going to be very, very important. And I think Taylor understands that she can't be here for every single game, that she's got a life of her own and a career to continue to, to soar. So, I mean, that's my take on the game right
now. I think Taylor Swift will be there, honestly, because there's, my wife is.
What are we betting? What are we betting? What are we betting? What are we betting? Are we betting? Are we betting?
If she'll attend or not? I don't know. What do you personal pride? What do you want? I don't know.
Personal pride.
I don't know if I want to bet on a Taylor Swift being in attendance or not. That's just, it's kind of like a 50-50 thing. I don't know.
The loser, right, has to purchase a Taylor Swift shirt and wear it on like the next couple of shows.
What is this? The schedule,
and you've got to pay for the expedited shipping when you lose. I don't want you to be like, oh, wait a minute.
As Rex,
I got to jump in here. So sometimes you do wins and losses. Do we need to go through the Chiefs schedule and say whether Taylor will attend or not? Are we about to do that right now?
No, we're not about to
right
do
here.
that.
Oh, okay.
We are not about to do that because as Rex Timotheus says in the YouTube chat, we've officially crossed the threshold of way too much Swift talk. I agree.
Listen, you know what? You got to hashtag it so that way when all the Swifties are searching for, Taylor, they stumble across the Bettor Sports Betting Show. And they're like, oh, my God, these guys were talking about Taylor Swift.
By the way, the bet you threw out there.
To buy the merchandise.
Well, listen, the bet you threw out there about buying the shirt, I think would be a good purchase in my household because my wife will just wear it afterwards. So
that's fine, but you have to wear it, and you can't get like the schmedium so that she can fit into it later, right? Like you gotta like get like a normal T-shirt for yourself here.
Listen, I don't fit in schmedium T-shirts. Let's be real about that. All right, yeah,
so Swifty bet right there, Swifty merch.
We'll do it. Yeah, listen, I think she'll be there. It's in Kansas City. She's hanging out. We've seen a ton of pictures of them hanging out, so I think she's around.
Did you see them on Saturday Night Live?
I did. Yeah.
See, there we go.
We got this is funny that the chat over on YouTube, if you're watching, just Robert Flores and Rex Timotheus throwing out some comments about Kelce and Swift.
Look, see, Robert Flores is looking out for our SEO right there. Hashtag Taylor Swift to the title of this show now.
I threw this game I threw this game in here to actually talk about the football game, but this is what we get when we're talking about Chiefs and Travis Kelce, I guess. By the way, those stats you threw about Kelce, I kind of sense that you might be throwing out a Kelce prop on Friday's show for one of your best bets.
Are you trying to steal my thunder?
No, I'm just trying to tease. People got to tune in on Friday to see if we're actually going to go that way. All right, so that's some of the big Week 7 games for Sunday. Again, tomorrow night we got Thursday Night Football, and tomorrow's show, me and John and Pembo giving out some best bets and props for that game. So definitely tune in there. Friday show, me and Howard will be giving out some of our best bets and props for all of Sunday's games. So definitely tune in for that one to see where we're, if these leans on some of these games will be coming through with some of our picks this week. All right, gotta bring in our producer here, Adam Bernard, because we got to talk some Week 7 Survivor, because he asked me yesterday, he was like, we got to touch on this because we talked about earlier, so many tight spreads, so many, coin flip games, it seems, this week. And people out there, making their Survivor picks, if you're still alive, some tough decisions because you might have burned some of the bigger favorites already, especially this week. So, lay it out for us what your situation. I'm sure other people are in similar spots as you too.
So let's get the teams off the board that I can't pick. Baltimore, Philadelphia, Seattle, San Francisco, Detroit, and Miami. So none of those games matter because, Seahawks at home against Cardinals.
Did you make a slate for that so that we could see which teams you don't have?
I made a ticker for that, so let's roll that right now. So that's why it's always at the bottom.
There it is.
Right
Look
there.
see, I knew he had something going on here because I was just going to be a total a-hole and be like, what about Miami? Can you take Miami? What about Seattle? Can you take Seattle? Now it's
Oh, you're going to be that guy, like the guy at the fantasy draft that's like, let me take this guy. No, he was taken already. Okay, you're going to be that guy.
Being that guy.
So,
why am I not
so here are the considerations. I mean, the Jaguars on the road against the Saints. The Saints are very Jekyll and Hyde. Don't love it. The Bills, for the reasons that Servo talked about, no actual analysis. Just I don't like the idea of Belichick being embarrassed multiple weeks in a row and then having the big dog in the division coming into his house. Just something scared. Road. I don't like to take road teams in the division games.
Which is great.
In
that's a great philosophy.
I don't like.
Who are the home teams that you have available?
So we're down to Kansas City against the Chargers, but for reasons already talked about, Justin Herbert and the Chargers always play KC tough, both home and away. Or a team you mentioned that I wasn't thinking about when we talked before we came on the air today, the Rams at home against the Steelers. I think that's getting a little cute because are the Rams for real? Are the Steelers this bad? I like that better than the Bills for sure, and probably the Jaguars. But I mean, I might still go with Chiefs. I'm torn here. I don't know what to do.
What about here? I'm going to throw this one out at you because this one's going to be a little bit crazy. What about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home against the Falcons, who, let's face it, the Falcons have really kind of been scoring challenged, shall we say. They don't put up a lot of points. You worry about the system. Running against Tampa Bay is always something tough to do, and I know that Arthur Smith just loves pounding the rock, and you know what? And even just Desmond Ridder, I feel like maybe this Tampa defense at home kind of stymies Atlanta. I'm just gonna put that out there, let it marinate, and see how you feel.
I mean, if they had a better showing against Detroit, maybe I would probably give that more consideration. I don't know though.
I would not do that, honestly. I think this week is a prime possibility that Taylor Heineke comes in for the Falcons. And if Ridder struggles again, I could see Heineke coming into the second half, pulling out a win for Atlanta. I don't think that's off the table at this point. And the small spread there, Buccaneers only 2.5-point favorites in that. Again, another rivalry game, like a divisional matchup. I would stay away from that one, but that's just my take on it.
I would even consider the Raiders on the road if they had Jimmy G, then that would probably be a way to go. And that's like getting a little cute, but at least they had, but I can't even look at that game now. So
what about the Commanders on the road against the Giants?
Same thing. I mean, yes, the Commanders are playing better football than the Giants, but the Giants, listen, say what you want. They only lost by 5, and they had a chance to beat Buffalo, one of the best teams in the AFC at the end there on the road. So, I mean, listen, Washington coming into that building, yeah, they're playing better, but that's I can't do that. For the same reason, I can't. If I'm not going to take Buffalo in New England, I'm not going to take Washington in New York.
I think Buffalo might be the safest way to go because as we both just touched on, the Belichick vibe of this, that angle that he could make you sweat on this, but I just don't see the Patriots score. They might cover the spread. I just don't see them winning this game outright. That's just my vibe. So,
okay,
I definitely don't see the Patriots winning the game outright. That would be, I mean, maybe you sweat a little bit, but I don't even know if you're going to sweat that much. I mean, I'll take the Bills and I'll lay the 9 points. Patriots just don't have they just don't have it anymore. And I get it. Like I said before, I get the whole Bill Belichick narrative and whatnot. But for those of you out there who are able to take it, because there are, some really tough spots there. I also do like Seattle at home against Arizona. I do.
By the way,
that's the pick.
By the way, if people do still have the Bills available like Adam does, just looking at the rest of their schedule after this week, this might be this matchup against the Patriots is probably the easiest they have left. They got Tampa Bay next week, so maybe you look at that. It's a Thursday night game. But besides those two, they play Denver. Maybe that you could say that one. the Jets, I feel like, is going to be a tighter game. But besides that, they play a lot of really good teams. I mean, they got the Patriots second to last game of the year, so maybe you save them for that. But I think if you're playing,
I don't like saving.
yeah, if you're trying to survive now, you know.
I'm not a saver.
Yeah.
You win and figure it out, because there's always an injury that happens, and all of a sudden a team, when you were looking 4 weeks ahead, you would never consider, all of a sudden now they're a great team to take because of an injury that you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like, I never save. You get into trouble doing that. So maybe I'll actually win the pool this year. We'll see.
I listen, man. I wish you nothing but the best in winning the pool. I hope you fucking do, man. Crush it.
Thank you.
I'm looking at mine. I'm trying to get mine stuff going. I've got some Bills left. I got some Seahawks left. Looking at the Rams. I'm gonna probably. I feel like in one survivor pool where I can buy back up through like week 8. If I missed, I feel like I think the Tampa Bay game. I have a hunch.
You got a feeling about it, huh?
I got a feeling about it.
By the way, you can check out Kevin Tompkins over on Fantasy Alarm. He has the Survivor Pool picks article every week over on Fantasy Alarm. So definitely stay tuned for that. Usually comes out tomorrow before the Thursday night game. So definitely stay tuned for that. And check out all of Fantasy Alarm's content for fantasy football this week, for betting, for DFS. Go get the Fantasy Alarm All-Pro subscription if you haven't already. You can scan that QR code right on the screen there. Go to fantasyalarm.com/win. Use promo code LOCK too for that. But yeah, I mean, one-on-one expert access in the Discord. You got the lineup generators for all the DFS. You know, for other sports besides football. You know, we got NBA season starting up next week, so you want to get on the NBA DFS and fantasy basketball draft advice too. For those leagues, you know, we got NHL, DFS, and bets articles coming out every day. So jump on this all-pro subscription at Fantasy Alarm if you haven't already. All right, let's talk some baseball here. And you know, we talked about this yesterday, but the BettorCast app, where you're gamifying Major League Baseball playoffs on the BettorCast app. So download the free app to see Moose and Keith's preview and picks for Game 3 of the ALCS between the Houston Astros and Texas Rangers tonight. Join our free contest by answering pregame questions, and then during the game, predict what will happen, test your baseball knowledge, you chat with fans about the game in real time. Always free to play, no purchase or subscription necessary. Must be at least 18 years old, and you can go download it with that QR code, another QR code on the screen there, or free BettorCast app over in the Apple app or Google Play stores. All right, let's talk some ALCS Game 3, and you know, mentioned it earlier in the show, but we got a little brag a little bit because me and James Grande went 5-0 with our picks yesterday.
I'm going to start with Arizona Diamondbacks starter Merrill Kelly. I'm going to go with the walks prop here. And I'm going to go over 1.5 walks for Merrill Kelly.
I'm with you on this because, and I hope one of those walks goes to Bryce Harper. So give me Bryce Harper over a half a walk.
I'm going to stick on the pitching side of things. Listen, I was very critical of Aaron this year, and I think the way his season went, it was warranted. But I'm going to go over 15.5 outs, and he has looked like a complete different pitcher over the last month.
All right, I'm going back to the Phillies offensive side of things. Give me Trey Turner over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. It's juiced up to minus 145 on DraftKings, but I'm still good with it because he's been over this in all 7 postseason games so far this year.
And look, this is super juiced. I'm not giving out like anything sneaky here, but just the fact that it's on the board just feels like kind of free money, right? Like, if you like money, you like free money, why not bet the under 1.5 hits plus runs RBIs for Johan Rojas right now? Minus 180 on DraftKings. He has 1 hit since the first game of the postseason.
Yes, 5 is the number. Oh, 5, beautiful 5.
Awesome producing work from our producer Adam Bernard there on that little intro because yeah, listen, you got to brag a little bit when you get things right and you make some good calls. don't always get a perfect night in terms of betting between you and your co-host, but we'll take it. And as Howard said earlier, he hit on some on Monday's show. Me and him hit on these bets for the postseason. So it seems like we both got some really good reads on these postseason matchups. Yesterday was Diamondbacks Phillies. The Trey Turner home run in the first inning, and then Bryce Harper getting walked in the first inning. It was nice to cash both those nice and early yesterday. But
it's always good when you hit like immediately,
right?
Always
just
good.
Not even sweating, and then I can just watch my Phillies, put up a 10 spot and get the win. But all right, how about we got Rangers Astros. Rangers up 2-0 in this series now, winning the first two games. Series now back in over to the Texas Rangers home park now. We got interesting matchup. Max Scherzer on the mound for the Rangers, Christian Javier on the mound for the Astros. Where are you going with any bets or props for this game, Howard?
Yeah, I mean, you're getting plus money on the Astros to not get swept, right? It's like plus 110 on DraftKings. So I'm just gonna do that. Listen, I think Christian Javier is a fantastic pitcher. Right, we've seen him. His last start, he was absolutely dynamic in the last series. So, I think that I love the Rangers, and I was in on the Rangers to win this series again. But I don't think we get the full sweep here. Scherzer, you got to, he's still shaky. He's not, the lights out consistent guy that you always know and want. Like, remember, Clayton Kershaw earlier in the playoffs, Scherzer earlier in the playoffs. I mean, these guys, their time is coming to a close. So I'm going to back the Astros just because I'm getting the plus money on it.
Yeah, listen, if I was going a game pick for this, I would go the Astros too. So I'm with you on that. And I got a couple bets, props that definitely back that pick because one of them is Max Scherzer. You mentioned first game back now after injury. He's not pitched in a month. Give me his under 12.5 outs here, minus 125 on DraftKings. We know he's going to be on a little of a pitch count. About 65 to 70 pitches is the range that was been said by Bruce Bochy, manager for the Rangers, that he's going to be on. I just don't think that's going to put him into the fifth inning. 12.5 outs here. It gives us 4 innings for Scherzer. And there's been a lot of, talk around that they're going to try to use like a long relief guy after Scherzer. Dane Dunning or maybe a John Gray, someone that's, experienced starter for them, but now is in the long relief role for this series. I feel like they're going to use a guy to piggyback off of Scherzer. So I don't think he's going to go too deep. And the 65 to 70 pitches range that he's going to be kind of limited at, it could go under 4 innings for all we know, because the Astros really good, really high walk rate. See a lot of pitches against right-handed pitching this season. I feel like they're going to want to make him work, get him out of the game as soon as possible, then dive into this, shakier Texas bullpen. So I feel like I don't think we're going to see him into the 5th inning here. I just see the Astros probably getting a couple runs off him too early, make him work up that pitch count. A little over a month ago, we saw Scherzer with the Rangers face this Astros team. He got lit up for 7 runs and lasted just 3 innings in that game. This Astros lineup know they can get to Scherzer, and I feel like they're just kind of like an offense that's waiting to break out. Have been a little quiet in these first 2 games, but I just don't see Scherzer lasting too deep into this. So it's a low number, 12.5 outs, but I just don't think he lasts too long.
And I am 100% on board with that.
I think that probably leads to an Astros win. And then another pick I got here that should lead to an Astros win, Yordan Alvarez. Give me his over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. He's been over this in 5 of 6 postseason games so far this year. 6 home runs in the postseason already, including 2 last game, which I think is a good sign because there was a report that he was dealing with like a virus. He went hitless in the first game of this series, but then broke out last game, hit 2 homers, one off of Aroldis Chapman late too, which they brought him in lefty on lefty, but Alvarez smashes lefty-handed pitching. So even if they try to go matchups with him, I think Alvarez is going to have success here. The only risk, by the way, Alvarez 4 for 7 with a home run in his career off Scherzer Also 3 walks in his career off Scherzer. So really good numbers, BVP numbers against Scherzer in their careers. The only risk here is that the Rangers kind of give him the Bryce Harper approach where they pitch around him, maybe intentionally walk him because he's so hot and so dangerous, can go deep in any at bat. So that's the only risk I have with this bet. But I'll also throw out there Yordan Alvarez over a half a walk. Did this with Bryce Harper and it came through. I'm doing it here with Alvarez because I do think there's a chance, especially maybe late in the game where it's tighter, where they choose to pitch around him, especially if first base is open, and just don't let him burn him and hit another home run. So, yeah, give me over on his walks prop as well.
Over, under on his walks prop as well. I could dig it. I'm checking odds now. We got Gems in the in the chat looking for a Bregman home run. Which, I mean, listen, I think the matchup it's fine. I'm looking
plus
for
500 odds for Bregman to go deep tonight.
What is it? Plus 500?
Plus 500 on DraftKings.
Yeah. It's plus 1,300 for the home run on his first at bat.
Ooh.
Right? But
he goes deep in the first inning off Scherzer. Could see that.
So, just saying. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I like Alex Bregman as a player. I would like to see and again, it just backs my narrative too. So I don't really care. As long as the Astros win this game, it's all I care about. That's it.
Jim saying he has 4 strikeouts with Max, I guess, in their BVP careers, too. I will say, I didn't throw it out here. The one other guy, if you look at some of the BVP numbers, which, again, you can't always take, as gospel for this, but Michael Brantley is smashing Scherzer, and it's a long history where he has really good numbers. So if you want to look at some of his props, I think he's another hitter for the Astros to look at tonight that I think could have a good game. He's been hitting, starting to hit a little bit better now that he's healthy. So, he's the other guy with Alvarez that I'm looking at. Would not look at Kyle Tucker, unfortunately, because he is not seeing the ball right now. He's not hitting well, and he even said it after the last game that he is just not seeing it right. So I would stay away from him, honestly. But Brantley and obviously Alvarez are for sure guys I'm looking to back tonight. All right, so those are some ALCS Game 3 picks. Tomorrow, we got 2 games in the playoffs. We got Game 4 for this series, and we got Game 3 for Diamondbacks at Phillies. So we'll definitely have some picks for that one, including Thursday Night Football with John and Pembo. We'll be giving out some player props and picks for that game. And then, of course, college football. I'll be giving out some of my best bets for college football Week 8. Some really good games coming up this weekend. Penn State, Ohio State is the really headliner, so I'll definitely have a pick on that one to give out to you guys. All right, so that's about it for us. Coming up after us, by the way, on Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm YouTube, you can check out Sports Bettor Court with Dan Lust at 6 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern. Howard Bender's back here with Lisa Ann does Fantasy Bettor, and then 9 p.m. Eastern, Dynasty Nerds with Garrett Price. Again, the Bettorcast going on at 8:15 p.m. Eastern tonight for NLCS or ALCS Game 3, Astros-Rangers. So definitely check out that on the Bettorcast app. All right, that's it for us. We'll be back tomorrow, again, 4 p.m. Eastern here on Bettor Sports Betting. Thanks for everyone for tuning in and jumping in on the YouTube chat, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.